Councillor Loney.
Thank you very much. I'm a new councillor, and I'm pleased that we've got Stagecoach and Hampshire County Council here today, simply because your fourth point was about partnership, and if you two are really partners of this borough, then I expect you to talk with the people of this borough about what their needs are. When I was putting out leaflets, the biggest complaint was about the service, especially in Brighton Hill. One lady, and I'm sorry if you think I'm going off, but I think it's important. One lady said to me in Asda, please, could you walk to the bus stop in Sullivan Road so that you can see how far I have to walk? And she had to walk through 3 car parks before she got to Sullivan Road for her bus, and that's over 400 metres. Now that's a lot, and this lady was 82, and that's because everybody said was going to be a better service was not a better service for the people of Brighton Hill. I would also like to ask, and I believe we've got to ask a question, I'd like Stagecoach and Hampshire County Council to walk the route around some of the older persons' bungalows in Brighton Hill, because they're not on the periphery where your bus goes. They are, and I'm talking about Brahms, I can show you so many, but they have to walk like 300-400 metres down to the periphery road that goes round, and one bus stop, I've done it just to test how long it would take, and it's going uphill once you get
1 minute,
off the bus. 1 minute left. Oh God, I've worked out for 4 minutes, so I'm sorry, I'll have to really rush it then. So what I'm asking is that you walk the route and just see where some of our older people have to walk. And at the end of the day, we are an older generation, and these older people, we see in the paper all the time about isolation, we see about people not talking to one another. The bus is not just about getting people from A to B. It really should offer a service. And as our partners, I hope you will consider what true partnership means. And I'd love to see you up on Brighton Hill, meeting me and letting me show you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for keeping within the time. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Yes, I also had prepared 4 minutes until your unilateral declaration of independence. I had a call from a resident just before I came in here tonight who said for 43 years she'd lived where she lived and she'd always been able to get to the supermarket, but since February she hasn't been able to, and that's symptomatic of the problem all across the town. All of us, all of the councillors that represent the inner town areas are finding that their residents can no longer get to the shops, can no longer get to the doctors, no longer get to the dentist without taking at least 2 buses, and of course that increases their costs quite dramatically. As a point of fact, I note that Hampshire pays £632,000 for the bus service, which is roughly 10% of the total 6.3 million, and that says to me that we're not even getting the fair share. We're not even getting our fair share as the largest group in the county. We are 13% population-wise to the whole county, so they don't spend enough money. They're not running buses in favour of people who need buses. People are not able to get to where they need to get to, and there has been absolutely no thought put into any of this. And finally, directly to Mr. Dyer, I've emailed you twice, sir, about a lady who was nearly knocked over by one of your buses, and you haven't chosen to even acknowledge the receipt of that email. And I think, as a public servant, that's disgraceful.
Thank you. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to start with a quote. Buses are the most important mode of public transport in Britain. They have a key role in generating economic growth, supporting our high streets and connecting our communities. I couldn't agree more with that statement. It says exactly what I believe, and it says what I want our bus services to do. I wonder if you'll be surprised as I am when I discover that the person who provided this statement was Robert Montgomery, and he's the Managing Director of Stagecoach UK Buses. Further still, it was in a document called Buses in Crisis. Irony really is a wonderful thing. And we're here tonight because of one thing. It's within the title of that document I've just mentioned. Our buses are in crisis. Our services are currently provided by Stagecoach, who on their website, if you're willing to dig for it, have a lovely infographic. It's a short collection of images and facts and figures about the company. And at the centre of this document is a segment. It's called Our Contribution to Society. Now, I won't call on audience participation here behind me, but I think you'll probably guess the answers from people when they think about the changes made in February. These are the contributions that Stagecoach say they make. Connecting people, families and communities, allowing access to health, education, employment and leisure, and supporting economic growth. So with those contributions in mind, through you, Chair, I would like to ask Mr. Dyer if he believes that the changes made in February are in keeping with those cornerstones. It is my belief that they have put their profits before their passengers, and that can be seen in their profit margin between 2012-13 and 2013-14, where there is a significant drop in their profit margin for that period. Thank you.
Thank you for keeping in.
Thank you, Chair. Because I've just arrived, can you tell me how many minutes I've got?
2 minutes, please.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to raise my concerns on behalf of my residents in Brighton Hill North. I'm talking specifically about in particular about the changes that came in the spring this year, and I just want to draw attention to the complete lack of consultation and the chaos that caused within the ward. You know, I had several residents contact me about the very poor consultation at that time, and you know, I think that's was a real issue. There's one particular thing I want to raise tonight, and that it comes about through the lack of consultation, and in terms of the rerouting of the number 1 bus. Now, I will be fair, I think quite a few of the residents in my ward in particular are pleased with the more frequent and regular service that is now operated with the number 1 bus, and I will acknowledge that there's been an improvement for some of the residents in my ward. However, what I would say is
1 minute.
there's been the main bus stop for the number 1 bus now is on Sullivan Road, which at the best of times can be a very dangerous road because it's very windy, and there's a lot of speeding and traffic that go down there anyway, and that is now the main bus stop for the number 1 bus, and it involves residents having to cross a road and with no proper safe crossing, and it's basically an accident waiting to happen. And had there been proper consultation, this would have been an issue that would have been raised by not only myself and the other councillors in Brighton Hill, but also many residents. So that's just an example of the lack of consultation and an accident waiting to happen as a result of that. Briefly, I'd also like to mention the number 12 bus. Even though number 1 bus might have been better for some of our residents, there's been a real issue with the number 12 bus, the massive reduced service of number 12 bus, which has meant that residents are unable to get to work in Sainsbury's in particular. There's lots of residents in Brighton Hill who work in Sainsbury's, and as a result of these cuts, and they're now unable to get to work or have had to change their work patterns, and certainly at the time it created a lot of problems. And also young people getting to college because of the number 12 service. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Park. Two minutes, please.
Thank you. I'd like to say that the bus service we had in Basingstoke and Dean is not fit for purpose. And I ask the visitors here tonight, what are you going to do about that? That's prior to any further cuts from the county. So again, I want to know, what are we going to do about that? I also like to know, are we discriminating against disabled and people who are more vulnerable? And has anybody looked at the Equalities Act? And I'd like to know, are people being discriminated against? I think they are, and I would like to take a test case to prove that both the County Council and Stagecoach are discriminating against certain residents. We have people whose quality of life has been destroyed and is being made miserable by the acts of both the county and Stagecoach. What are we going to do about that?
1 minute, please.
And also, I think what I would like to know is, in relation to consultation, again, it is absolute farce. We are not consulting with residents. I've never, this election, I have never seen so many people so angry across the borough about the bus service. And I'd like to, if it's not fit for purpose now, what's it going to be like after the cuts? And Chair, before I finish, can I just also say, I'm appalled that you didn't take residents before councillors. I would have thought that the visitors should have been taken first. Can I also say, in relation to the new constitution, I was hoping that we would have a new way of working. Everybody had prepared 4 minutes as councillors, and you have cut that short. I think that's poor. And can I also say that we all have supplementaries to the questions we asked. How are you going to address that tonight, Chair?
Can I explain the reason for inviting councillors to speak before the public was that I feel it's easier for people to come forward once they've sat there for a while and see how things work. As far as the restricting the time of councillors, we have a lot of members of the public here who want to speak, and I want to move on to that now.
Can I also say that we have residents who are struggling to get home because their buses are going to go, and they're panicking and they're waiting to speak, and it's not acceptable, Chair.
The first name on my list for public speaking is